Hey everyone. Really not looking forward to this. Hey everyone, Dan and Leslie back for another Disney dining review.
All right, so today we're headed over to the Cake Bake Shop over on the BoardWalk. And, you know, if we weren't doing these dining reviews, I probably would never go to this place. I feel like I already have the predisposition that it is extremely overpriced. So we'll see.
If you haven't been following the controversy, the Cake Bake Shop is the brand new restaurant slash bakery that opened in place of the ESPN club that was on the BoardWalk. So pretty much between the BoardWalk Inn and the International Gateway right there. It did a soft opening last week. It is officially open for business. They are not taking dining reservations, which makes getting there for locals a little bit more complicated. We're just gonna park at Hollywood Studios and take the Skyliner over versus like trying to talk the security guard into letting us in at BoardWalk. But once we get there, it's a little bit iffy on if we're gonna be able to actually try real food here or if we're just going to get a couple slices of cake to go. I'm not particularly looking forward to this just because I'm not a cake guy, let alone it being overpriced. So several weeks ago, the initial menu was released online and the prices were significant. We're talking like $26 for a slice of cake, which to me, not being a cake guy, I'm sure some people out there that aren't ride people will argue that park tickets or premiere passes or whatever, or VIP tours aren't worth it for them. I'm just not a cake guy, so $26 is not worth it for me, but I'm gonna try to be as objective as possible, but just know going in that all of these dining reviews, it's our experiences, it's our tastes, our preferences, and so it, by definition, is biased.
And the real food is expensive. So, I mean, we've got the hors d'oeuvres range. You can get some fries for $18, but the other hors d'oeuvres range from $27 to $29 a piece. And then even the soups and salads which they're more reasonable, $13, $11.
I think Disney's new model is charge like astronomical prices for one thing to make all their other really expensive prices seem not that expensive.
But I mean, you enter into the signature dishes. There is a New Orleans shrimp po' boy for $35.
For a sandwich.
For a sandwich. So, you know, the crab cakes on the signature dish is $50. It's gonna have to like knock my socks off for me to make this worth it.
So
Dan is all of a sudden rethinking the fact that we're going to this place.
I knew I had seen the $26 for a slice of cake, but $50 for a couple of crab cakes.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a lot of really expensive prices on Disney property, and we're gonna try every restaurant there is on Disney property. So I guess that leaves this one. So,
all right.
Ready?
Yes.
Let's do this. I'll make sure I bring the spare checkbook. And I don't know. Let's go.
All right, so we are waiting for our table at the Cake Bake Shop. Right now we're in the bakery side of things where it's also a gift shop. This is a pretty little ballerina and I thought, oh, how cute. My great niece would love this, but it's $73.
All right, we have... All right, we have arrived. So we waited for about 15-20 minutes for our table. We did decide to go ahead and order drinks. They have a pretty extensive drink menu. We hear their wine selection is pretty good. But they have old fashions and they do one large cube. So we originally went with an Angel's Envy rye, but they were out of that. So Maker's Mark, actually pretty solid. Very well balanced. I like that a lot.
And I got the signature Cosmopolitan. It's very glittery. I like it. It's pink and girly and just fabulous. But she asked me what I like, and I said I didn't like overly sweet drinks, and she recommended this. So that is really good. It's not overly sweet. It's got a lot of citrus to it, but with just like a sweet like undertone, like a back kick to it. It's nicely balanced as well. That is very good. All right, so we got the burrata. It's the pesto burrata. So it looks delicious. Let's see. All right, so the pesto burrata has a ton of flavor to it. That pesto was fantastic. I love the creaminess of the burrata. The little bread pieces are like, they looked like they were gonna be really, really crispy, and I thought maybe too crispy, but they're actually cooked to perfection. My only complaint is that I don't feel like there's enough bread comparative to the burrata and pesto and tomatoes that you get. So, okay, so I went with the ham, rosemary, and goat cheese quiche. So it comes in like a slice. So they must make it in like, they must make it in like a giant pie plate. That was almost very bad. But she said that she really loves the quiche because the crust actually has vodka in it that's like cooked out. And so it keeps it like really nice and crispy. So here we go. I want to dive in a little bit more before I totally give all my thoughts. But I have to say, maybe it's not so bad that it's pretty expensive, because that's really good.
I got the crab cakes. One of the most expensive entrees on the menu at $50 for 2 crab cakes, but if it's done right, that looks really good. Okay, those are really good. There's almost no filler. It's all lump crab. Very, very high quality crab. Like that's, and that remoulade sauce that's sitting in, a little bit of spice. So good. Okay, so we got not one, but 2 slices of cake. We are not going to eat all this, but it is the Cake Bake Shop, and we probably are not going to come here too often because we are just not huge cake people, but this does look good. So we got Gwendolyn's Famous Cake. So this is their signature cake. It is a chocolate cake with a chocolate mousse and chocolate ganache and chocolate this and that and all kinds of chocolatey goodness here.
It's so sparkly.
So I guess I'm just gonna try and... Okay, I'm a little scared. Oh, it's chocolatey. Maybe one more little bite here. The cake is pretty dense. It is moist. It's like somewhere between like a sponge cake and a brownie for me. It is very dense. The ganache and the filling, the whatever, mascarpone buttercream, I guess buttercream. It is rich. It is very chocolatey. It's good.
We also got the pumpkin spice cinnamon roll cake. I'm also all of a sudden very nervous. So, ooh, here we go. It's very, very sweet. But I can taste the pumpkin, and I can also taste the cinnamon roll aspect of it. So, like, I get the combination of it. And there's no way one person would be able to eat this slice of cake. I mean, y'all, it's my face size. Like, it's huge. All right, we're gonna take a few more bites of this. We are taking most of it home to Jennings and Aiden, but we'll finish this review up at home.
All right, we are back.
All right, before we get into this astronomically priced review, if you are looking to plan your next magical vacation, please reach out to us over at Fantastical Vacations. We plan Disney destinations, Universal, cruise lines, and all-inclusive resorts. Those are really hard to get out today.
Okay, full disclosure, we, so this is a different day. We have fast forwarded it into the future. We did our pre-review earlier, so we did take the Skyliner over, and we went and we put our names in, and then that's when we got the news that that Leslie's father had passed, and so we left immediately, dealt with family stuff, and then we rescheduled a reservation. The only reason I'm telling you this is because they do take reservations now, and this is how we found out. So currently they're taking reservations on Open Table, and if you book that reservation and you go up to the Boardwalk Inn, if you're driving a personal car, they will let you in with that reservation. We just did it today. So we use an Open Table reservation, and there are plenty of them now because I don't think the word hasn't really gotten out, at least as of right now.
They also said that it should be on Disney's system within 2 to 3 weeks. So
normally with dining reviews, we rate at the restaurant, and then we come back and we go over our ratings. We haven't rated this yet, and we were talking about it. We're like, should we do that? Like, it's raw, it's real, let's rate it on camera. So there's that.
Here you go.
So here's raw and real. So overall, there's a lot of things that are really, really good about it. Yeah. But after we rate, we're gonna have to revisit if it is worth it, because this is extremely expensive. We pay $242 in change for everything that we got, including tax, tip, all of that. So we got
a little bit more food than we probably normally would have, as usual, but.
Sure, and we'll talk about it all. But I just wanna keep that into perspective, because that's been the thing with this restaurant. I don't think anybody was questioning whether or not this restaurant would be good. Yeah. I think people were questioning the value because of the insanely high prices. I mean, $26 for a slice of cake is a little bit much. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. So, and then finally, a little bit of background, and then we can dive in. This is the third cake bake shop location, and also the largest. And so our waitress was telling us, the original location was in some house or something.
Yeah, like a refurbished old house or something.
Anyway, this is the third one, and they have, perfected things that they are doing there. So this is not really a chain, it's the same owner that is opening these locations, but just keep that in mind that this is not an original location. So
yes, ambiance and theming. So as far as ambiance goes, I will never understand why they cram a two-top in right next to the serving station. So literally and both Dan and I had to shimmy our way into our chairs because the table was crammed in there, and there were loads of empty tables around us. So that was kind of annoying.
We made a reservation for 2:45 because that's kind of a nice time to do a dining review between the two crowds of services. If you're wanting to talk to a microphone and not look completely obnoxious and holding a camera towards each other's face. So it's nice if it's not super crowded. Not to mention the ambiance, the noise, and everything. So we intentionally make dining reservations when we can for a time that we don't think will be overly crowded. And we were right on. It was not overly crowded. In fact, for most of the review, there weren't any. So there's an outer ring of tables, and then the inner room where that carousel looking thing is. The problem is there were two tables set when we walked in, and for the first 15 minutes of our meal, it was nothing but clanging of silverware and glasses and everything, because those two tables got up and left, and then they had to turn over the tables and reset those tables, and it's all happening literally 8 inches behind my head. I got a picture of just the chair, I backed up to just get out, and I couldn't back up any further to get out because of the
I wish you would have taken a picture of my side, because I backed into a wall. So, but all that to say, the service station right behind us, I mean, it is just clang, 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 and people gathering right there. So even if it's not clangy, you've got two servers kind of constantly right there. And so you feel kind of weird talking because they're right there. And anyway, I just wish restaurants wouldn't do that. I don't understand. I understand getting one more table in as an option, but it's just, think about someone's experience. So that brought, ambiance way down for me because of that. That was just, It was not a pleasant experience. Flip side of this is theming, and the theming is absolutely stunning. I mean, from the detail of the gold, like around the rim of the table, to everything having that same kind of color tone. Even our waitress's earrings were like these beautiful gold, like Minnie Mouse ear things that just matched her outfit perfectly. Like everything was just so pretty, like with the chandeliers and the tree and the little sconces, and so that brought it way up. So we kind of have to meet in the middle with ambiance and theming, I think.
Yeah, I don't. So we checked in at 2:45, like 2:42 or something, like right before our dining reservation time, but we still had to wait 15, 18 minutes to get a table.
Yeah,
and
which was weird.
And then you walk in and there's all these tables that are open, and they set us at the lone two-top that I saw in our section. And like after they reset all those tables, and they set another couple at a four-top across the way, and that would have been plenty of space. So it's not every table, but our table just really brought down the ambiance for us. And it's like, you can look at it like, oh, well, you got unlucky. But if there's any table in a restaurant that you're paying $250 to eat lunch there, a late lunch there, like they all should be a good experience.
They should all be.
So unfortunately, yeah. So ambiance was subpar, definitely below average, but theming is definitely above average. So I personally, I'm leaning at I'm looking at a 3 because they kind of balance each other out.
I would even go 3.5 because the theming is so great. But yeah, I could land at 3.
Okay, 3.
Okay. All right. Service. So what's super funny is that she came to our table multiple times, and I was like, man, she just looks so familiar. And come to find out, so I finally asked, and she was like, I thought you guys look familiar too. And she has been our server at another location on Disney property as well. And she is just a delight. Like, she's just lovely person. You can kind of like joke with her a little. She's very knowledgeable about the menu and the options and giving good suggestions. And even if she didn't quite like know what her recommendation would be, like she would say the most popular options that people have gotten are XYZ. These are the things that seem to just be continually a hit.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I would go 4.5. I think
Yes.
she was really, really good. 4.5.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, 4.5. All right, drinks. The drinks were actually quite good. They were well balanced. 1 large cube for the old fashioned. I did have a little bit of an issue. So basically, the old fashioned was $18.99, and you had a choice of 3 bourbons. But she was like, "Okay, I don't have that one rye, but I do have a couple others that I could substitute. What would you like?" So then I chose one of those. I prefer rye in my old fashions. And she came back with the old fashioned already made and said, "Sorry, we didn't have the one you chose." I'm like, "Oh, well, what'd we get?" It was a Maker's Mark, which probably would have been my last choice, but kudos because they made it really well. Like, it was a good, solid old fashioned. It was not my favorite old fashioned on property, but it's definitely probably, I don't want to say top 10 because that sounds like I have a problem with I do have a problem with old fashions, I guess. So anyway, definitely top 10.
My Cosmo, it was also well balanced, but it's not a drink that I feel like I'm like, ooh, I've got to go back and have that drink again. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like the salt air margarita over at Haleo, which I know I bring up often, but once you have it, it's seriously life-changing. So then for me, it's like, it was above average, but not like, it's not a 5. I would probably say drinks are a 4.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Okay.
Food. Okay, so this place is actually very, very tasty. There's not one thing that we got that I did not care for, and very few complaints. We started off the meal with a burrata appetizer, which was very good, but the proportions were off. We had 2 large, giant softball hunks of burrata cheese, which was tasty, and then a good portion of a pesto that you put on the they're like toasted miniature, like mini
baguettes.
French baguettes. There just weren't enough baguettes, or for my money, enough tomatoes, right? And so the proportions were off because there were 6 toasted baguette pieces. We ate all 6 of those and still had about a softball and a half of burrata left. And I mean, it was off. It was very good. I did not like it as well as the burrata at Topolino's.
Yeah.
For dinner.
I agree.
That appetizer is fantastic. This is just below that, maybe a half star below that, but very, very good.
My other complaint is that like, so the prices are high, and my piece of quiche was like, it was like a hunk of piece of quiche. I think that, and then same with the burrata, I think that they could make it a more pleasing situation and charge less and just not serve as much, in my opinion.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think the majority of their costs are going towards like paying Disney just to be there. Like,
but they're expensive in their other locations too.
not this expensive.
I know.
The crab cakes, very tasty.
They were good.
So crab cakes, I usually prefer like a crispy fried outer shell, but which these were not. This was very, very soft, but those crab cakes, like I'm used to crab cakes that have a lot of filler. These didn't have a lot of filler. Like it was mainly just lump crab in there. Were they worth $25 a piece? We'll talk about that in a minute. But they were very, very good. The flavors were well balanced. But you know, after about, I don't know, 90 seconds and 8 bites, I have just a plate of arugula in front of me, right?
Yeah.
So it's not, you're not gonna get full off of those $50 crab cakes, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So all that to say, and then the cakes were, we got these kind of signature chocolate cake, which, I mean, it is rich, but probably one of the best chocolate cakes I've ever had.
So this is the one thing that I think our server maybe missed just a little bit on. She said it was very, very chocolatey, but not like a super rich chocolate. I would disagree. Like it was pretty rich.
It was pretty rich, yeah. And then we also got the pumpkin spice cinnamon roll cake, which I think was a little on the dry side and a little on the too sweet side too. So I didn't just enjoy that one as much. Like the flavors were fine, but to pay I think that one was $23 for the slice. I don't feel like that was worth it. So,
well, the other one, the chocolate one, was $25.
That's true.
Which we'll talk about value in a minute.
Yes.
But
okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. The chocolate cake was actually very, very good. The layers were super moist, very dense, almost brownie-like for the 3 layers. But then the chocolate ganache and the buttercream filling, and they were both like together. It was a very, very nice bite of food. So let's just rate the food on like quality and taste and balance and not the price yet.
Okay. So do you think 4 or 4.5?
I mean, maybe 4.5. They were very good. Except for that, I agree with you. That pumpkin cake was dry.
Yeah.
Maybe 4. Because that pumpkin cake, I mean, if that chocolate cake was a 4.5, that pumpkin cake was a 3.
Okay.
It wasn't, I would not eat that again. We shouldn't have probably even brought that one home. Anyway.
It's going to get thrown away at some point. So
4.
All right, so 4. So if we add all that up, I believe that is 15.5. So that is, what math is that?
I think it's a 3.675, I think. 3.875.
Okay.
3.875.
So, okay. Which we always say, if it's above a 4, then we will definitely be back. I think that this is worth going to, but let's talk value for a minute, because I think that that's the part where it's going to pull me back from ever going again, because I am not certain that the value is there.
$25 for a piece of cake. It's a large piece of cake, but we're still talking about sugar, flour, eggs, chocolate, like...
There is some fancy salt.
Oh yeah, that's sourced from the south of France. Keep your south of France salt. I'll take regular salt. It's whatever. Anyway, I think the drinks are actually priced up, according to Disney prices. Like $18.99 for a pretty good old fashioned. I'm not mad at that. The burrata actually for an appetizer. If they had just doubled the amount of those little crostini toasted baguette pieces,
which would be super cheap.
Yeah, it would have been enough for 4 people instead of just 2, and I think that the value would have been there. $50 for crab cakes, absolutely not. No way am I ever ordering that again. Like, they were great crab cakes, but $50 and you're not full and you're done in less than 90 seconds with 8 bites of crab. Like, no. I mean, they're 2 little crab cakes. No. And you can't just like put a big pile of arugula on a plate and be like, oh, it's a full meal now for $50. Definitely not worth it. Your quiche?
It was really good. It was like creamy, and I liked the kind of crispiness of the shell. I liked that the ham was kind of at the bottom, but it was because it was like this ginormous piece of quiche, I got tired of it. Does that make sense? Like, I got tired of the flavors and got tired of that same taste over and over again. So I didn't actually finish and the end where the pie was, it was pretty like thick crust, and so it wasn't as enjoyable to me to eat that part.
And then finally the cake. Like I
think the chocolate cake is maybe almost worth it because it's a huge piece, definitely multiple settings or for multiple people, right? But the pumpkin spice cinnamon roll cake, I see you shaking your head. It was a little on the disappointing side as far as like how sweet and dry it was.
I won't be back, not because it wasn't great food and not because the service wasn't excellent. And honestly, if we didn't get set right next to the server station, but you got to rate it on our experience this time. It's not like, oh, well, let's give it a 4 because if we had sat over there, it would have been better. Absolutely not. It was the experience that we had.
I walked to the bathroom and I thought, oh man, I wish I had that table.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they're the ones that chose to put a table right next to a service station. Anyway, the cake though. So this is, if you don't know, Cake Bake Shop on the boardwalk, right next to the boardwalk inn. It is 2 halves, basically. You've got the bakery. You can just walk in, order whatever, slice of cake. They have pie, they have brownies, whatever, to go. Or you can make a reservation or put your name on the walk-up list for the restaurant side. So we were in the restaurant side today, and you can order all the same cake that you can from the bakery at the end of your meal there. And then, of course, they'll box it up, whatever you don't finish. But yeah, $23, $25 for a slice of cake. It's too expensive. I mean, I think even Disney prices for a slice of cake should be maybe $12.99, $13.49, somewhere in there. Like but double that is crazy. Granted, I'm not a cake person. If there are cake people out there that have just always dreamed of eating at one of the cake bake shops and this is your chance, knock yourself out. $242 for everything you got. So I would love to know. Let us know in the comments. Do you think that what we reviewed is worth $242?
I'm gonna say no, but you know what? We have checked that box. We have reviewed it,
Sweet.
And if you are liking these videos, please hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.
And we will see you on the next video.